And good evening, everyone, and welcome to another one of our Shackley Health Chats. Tonight, we're going to focus on women's wellness, staying healthy in a world of Cheetos and chocolates. And that's kind of the world we're living in, isn't it? It's things to tease you and say, oh, eat me because I taste good, but is it good for you? Well, here's what we do know is that as women, we often have estrogen issues. And I just thought this was kind of fun. All right, maybe not fun, but pretty puts it into a nutshell. Ways to know if you have estrogen issues. Everyone around you has the attitude problem, but you don't. You're adding chocolate chips to your cheese omelet. The dryer shrunk those last pair of jeans because it's not because you're bloated. And your husband is suddenly agreeing with everything you say. You're using your cellular phone to dial up every bumper sticker that says, how's my driving? Call 1-800. Everyone's head looks like an invitation for batting practice. Everyone else seems to have just landed here from outer space. And you're sure that everyone is scheming to drive you crazy. And you can't understand how that ibuprofen bottle you just opened yesterday because you have PMS is already empty. Okay. Couple of giggles, because how many of you have ever felt like that at any time or another? Well, here's the reality. Don't know why it's not working right. There we go. These are all symptoms of hormone imbalances. And I can probably pretty much guarantee that every one of you on this call has had these at one time or another, whether it's breast sensitivity, water retention, bloating, headaches tied to your cycle, irritability and mood swings, especially with PMS, but oh boy, did I have it through menopause. Autoimmune disorders are actually hormone imbalances. Those hot flashes, night sweats, breast and uterine cancer, your inability to concentrate, or that brain fog, as many of us like to call it, those cravings that you have for salt, sugar, and chocolate, not to mention the osteoporosis, hypoglycemia, hair loss, uterine fibroids, fibrocystic disease or breasts, hemorrhaging, joint and muscle pain, iron deficiency, allergies, insomnia, even gallbladder disease and fatigue and mental and physical. You think it's all part of life. It's hormone imbalances. And the beautiful thing is with what we're going to share with you today, it's going to help you to overcome those imbalances. But let's talk a little bit about what causes it. Our diet is a huge factor in this, because many of us eat too high in refined starches and sugars, and we eat way too few fruits and veggies. How about stress? That can do a real number on our health in general, but especially our hormones, because that cortisol that's created whenever you're under stress uses up the progesterone in our bodies. And let's not even talk about birth control pills and hormone replacement therapy. And if you're eating too many calories or have a fatty or sluggish liver or have other deficiencies that impair your ovaries and other cellular functions, it's because you're not getting the right nutrition. And then there's the environment that we all live in and the estrogen that's automatically fed to the livestock, and then we eat it because it's in our food, and then there's those xenoestrogens. I mean, it's a hot mess out there. And there's many things we can't control, but there are some things we can do. So no matter what stage of life you're in, and we're going to hit on several stages for women as we go through today, we must eat a healthy diet. And I'm so excited, though, as a Shackley family, we've been doing what we call the 5-day resets. Oh my goodness, for the last 3 years, I think it's been. Shackley, that just starting in January, started something called the official 7-day healthy cleanse. And for 7 days, all you're eating is fruits and vegetables and no additional protein. But I will tell you, between the support in the Facebook group and the menus that are shared, it really helps to reset your palate and get you in the habit of eating that healthier diet, which also helps you to maintain that healthier weight. Also, we must always be active, which doesn't tie into the 7-day cleanse, but will make sense in the end. Manage your stress, and of course, supplement wisely. And I'm meeting a lot of people who are taking supplements, but they're buying it at Meijer's or they're buying it at Costco. As a matter of fact, just had a conversation with someone who was diagnosed with osteoporosis about a year ago. Doctor said, well, she says, I want to do it with vitamins, but she got her vitamins from Myers. And she was taking their multi and their calcium product. Well, she went for her year checkup and she's actually gotten worse instead of better. And the doctor now wants to put her on Reclast. So now she wants to hear about Shaklee. So it's kind of like, okay, so supplement wisely so that you're not wasting your money in the process. All right, I've already talked a little bit about eating a healthy diet, which does tie in with our 7-day cleanse. The thing to remember too is to eat healthy fats, which means more omega-3s, and such as olive oil, nuts, and seeds. Avoid at all costs trans fats and saturated fats. If you see that on a label, put it back on the shelf. Please do not eat any fast food. Fast food is just plain old bad for you. What I do, because it's easy. You know, you're really hungry because you've been busy all day and you're driving by the McDonald's or the Burger King and it's like, oh, I'll just grab a quick salad from there. Well, it's hard to eat a salad when you're on the run. So are you really going to get the salad? Nah, you're probably going to get the burger or one of the chicken sandwiches. And so it's not good for you. So what I do is I always have one of the Shaklee meal bars or snack bars in my purse or in my glove box. And when I'm hungry and I'm running around, I just grab one of those. Totally satisfies you. Healthy, better choice. Please do not drink soda. I used to have a bad habit of that as well. I was a Diet Coke queen. And I would drink a lot of it every day back when I was working in the city. But it's not good for you for lots of reasons. And if you need to know why, we can send you that information. And it's really, really important that you do read labels. And if sugar or salt or anything like that is in the first couple of ingredients, because you do know the first ingredients are how do I say this? The first couple of ingredients are the majority of the ingredients in the product. So if sugar is the very first ingredient, the majority of that product is made of sugar, and we don't want to be eating that. All right, step 2, get to your healthy weight. You'll hear you've heard BMI tossed around. Some of you know what it is. Some of you may not be sure. It's your body mass index, and it's based on your height and your weight. And between 18.5 and 24.99 is the ultimate BMI. If you're over 25, it's the beginning of health problems such as joint issues, hypertension, even cardiovascular disease. If you're over 30, it's more serious health problems likely. We're leaning towards diabetes and things like that. So if your BMI is over 25, get committed, buddy up. Take a look at Shaklee's 180 program, which we'll get to here in a second. But talking about step 3, being active. And if your BMI is really hard, it's hard to be active. So start doing small steps, like park your car farthest away in the parking lot, so you do get more steps in. And make a point of walking for 30 to 45 minutes around the area. Now that spring has finally sprung, although they are talking possibly snow on Saturday, but hopefully it's not going to stick. So why should you exercise? It helps to reduce risk of disease, helps achieve and maintain your healthy body weight, really helps to reduce depression, anxiety, helps build and maintain healthy bones, muscles, and joints. And 3 days a week, you want to do some strength training and at least 30 to 45 minutes a day of some type of activity, preferably aerobic. But if you are a couch potato, aim for 3 days a week to get started, and you can gradually build up to every day. Because we don't want you to be doing a lot of things you never did before all at once, because then you might quit before you get good at any of them. How about stress, ladies? And some of us live with it, literally with people in our homes. Marilyn's laughing. But women are more affected by stress than men. And we engage in unhealthier activities because of it. Often emotional eating, inactivity, smoking, or drinking. Women report they feel the effects of stress on their physical health more than men. And let's face it, stress is linked to all leading causes of death, including heart disease, cancer, autoimmune conditions, high blood pressure, and more. So identify those stressors. And you can't always eliminate them, so you have to do workarounds around them. Schedule personal relaxation time. Good nutrition is key. Exercise can help. Sleep is essential, and supplements are huge. The B vitamins, omega-3s, and Shaklee has these magic little pills called Stress Relief Complex that contain L-theanine and ashwagandha and beta-sitosterol and L-tyrosine. And I'll tell you, you pop one of those babies, and in about 20 minutes, you can run over a squirrel and not even be stressed out about it. Happened to me. True confession. And I didn't run over him on purpose. He just got in front of the tires, and sometimes you get upset about it, but I was like, oh, poor squirrel. So stress relief is a wonderful product for that purpose. And the final step is to supplement wisely. No matter what the doctors tell you or you hear in the news, we will never eat well enough to get the nutrients that we need. They're just no longer in our food. So get that nutrition insurance, I call it. I know it says assurance on the slides here, with a good foundational supplement program. Shaklee offers several choices. Today we're just going to focus on the Vitalizer and the smoothie and then the additional products that are out there, which we'll get to in a second. But Vitalizer, this is a great place to start because it's one strip, and the strip contains 2 of our multivitamin, which you see at the top is the green, half green, and then carotenoids, vitamin E, and fish oil, a sustained release B and C, and a probiotic. And the beautiful thing about this is Shaklee has figured out a way for them to release at the proper places inside your digestive system. Now, if someone tells you, oh, taking a liquid is better, or I take a pill and it says it's going to give me everything, one pill, it's not true. Things work at different places. Like a probiotic, you don't want it to do anything till it gets into your intestine. Our Vital E is patented coating with folic acid that releases immediately. It's just such cool stuff. And we don't have time to tell you all the details of this, but talk to the person who invited you to listen and get the details on that. Because in this strip, oh, there's a picture of the strip at the bottom. Sorry, I have my slides mixed up here. But in order to get all of the food you see on this page here, you would have to, you would get all, I can't talk tonight, I apologize. You would have to eat all the food on this screen in order to get what's in that strip of vitamins at the bottom. And I have to tell you, I should have thought of this. When I was with some people, they told us that they did some research. Suzanne, oh, it was June and Rusty Yost. And Suzanne, I think I sent it to you. And they actually had their team figure out how much it would cost to eat all of these products and all of these ingredients, everything on that page. And I will look it up while we're having the next person talk. Okay, 180 starter kit. This is a great place to start if it's time for you to lose some weight. And again, talk to the person who invited you today to learn more about it. And I mentioned our 5-day resets, which are a little bit different than the healthy cleanse I mentioned, because with this one, you're actually doing 3 of our life shakes every day while still eating all the veggies you want. And it's only 5 days versus 7 days. But I will tell you, you do one of these, you feel better, you lose your bloat, you're more focused. It's a really great thing to do. And I know a lot of you on the call have been on these already. So we're going to start out with PMS, and I'm going to turn it over to Jody for her to talk to you about PMS, because she's got a great story to share. And then when we come back, I will have those details for you about how much it would cost for you to eat all that food. Jody, take it away.
Thanks, Ruth. Hi, everyone. This is a great thing for me to talk about. I was the PMS queen back in the day. That's how I got introduced to Shaklee, actually. That's why I was willing to listen. It was because I had such severe PMS, and it was really 2 weeks out of the month. I was really an emotional nightmare. That's why I was willing to listen to Shaklee. So I don't know if you can relate, but this is kind of a funny little meme here. My typical day of PMS, I eat all the food, I cry about it, I get mad at all the people, cry about it, and repeat. I mean, it's just like psychopath. And that was me. I can relate. You can go to the next one, Ruth. Um, Lots of different symptoms. It just depends on the different people. Anxiety can be a problem with PMS. You can be nervous, irritable, mood swings, even have homicidal tendencies, depending on who crosses your path. Hormonal fluctuations. You can have an increased appetite, cravings for chocolate, acne, headaches, fatigue, dizziness, heart palpitations. I mean, I can relate to all of this. I don't know about you all. Depression. Are you forgetful? Do you feel like you're crying often? You have confusion, insomnia, emotionally insensitive, murderous intent. I mean, I honestly remember being like this. I can laugh about it now, but I actually felt one time like I was having like a out of body experience. Like I could see my crazy self below me just ranting, and I couldn't do anything about it. I just was out of control with the PMS symptoms. So yeah, I can relate. Murder, fluid retention. Many have this. Weight gain, swelling, breast tenderness, abdominal bloating, diarrhea, all sorts of things. I would go from diarrhea to constipation, and I never knew what or why. You know, it was crazy. And then just being in pain, cramping, body aches, reduced pain threshold. You just don't feel good. And it's not on here, but I know some even have where they will be vomiting due to the pain and stuff. I never had that, thank God. But, it can really be debilitating. And again, symptoms can last from 2 to 20 days of your cycle. And for me, it was a good solid 2 weeks. So what a blessing when Shaklee came along. And I'll share some of the products here in a little bit. But what is PMS? It's a complex disorder believed to be linked to the cyclical activity of the hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis. PMS causes cyclical occurrences of symptoms appearing near ovulation and resolving soon after the onset of menstruation. So that's the technical way to define it. 40 to 60% of all menstruating women between the ages of 20 and 50 experience mild to moderate PMS. And they can be eliminated through lifestyle changes. And again, I'm a testament to that. And we have many, many friends that we know that have had great results on the products. So a chosen few, approximately 5 to 10% of the women suffer from severe PMS. And it really does touch every area of your life. It affects your relationships with your spouse, children, friends, your career, and personal happiness. And the physical and emotional symptoms of PMS can also lead to major depression, child abuse, alcoholism, and drug abuse. It's we kind of joke about it with with some of those memes, but it really is no joke. And you don't have to suffer anymore. And I know when I was suffering, I was going to my OB doctor, and she really didn't have anything much for me. I didn't want to go on Xanax or any of those things. So she didn't really know what to tell me. And then I found Shaklee, and I went back to her, and she could not believe, she did believe me, but she was like, you know more about health and nutrition than I do by what you're learning here. She said, I did not get this kind of schooling. So it really is wonderful that we have these resources. You can go to the next slide. So what do you take? Now, Ruth talked about the Vitalizer strip, which has a lot of these nutrients in it already. It's a great base, a great foundation to start. But we're talking more medicinal doses here. So you might want to add some other things to that Vitalizer strip. B-complex is huge with PMS. It helps with stress, emotional instability. It helps with sugar cravings, alcohol cravings. I mean, it is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. We call it the happy vitamin, the mood vitamin. So would definitely recommend taking more of the B complex than what's in the Vitalizer. And the protein. That is something that I wasn't familiar with. I've been using Shaklee for 27 years now, so that was kind of an odd thing to me. And the soy protein, I was given the challenge, try it for a month and see if you notice a difference. And if you don't, you get your money back. And we would challenge you that as well. The soy has got very specific properties to it that help with PMS and menopause, all hormonal issues. Japanese people eat a lot of soy foods, and there isn't even a word for hot flash in the vocabulary of people in Japan. So it really does help with the hormonal balance of your system. Another thing to add, to consider to add, would be the Osteomatrix. That's our calcium product. If you have cramping and muscle tension in your, like cramping, sleep, if you have disrupted sleep, the calcium can really help with that. And our product is called Osteomatrix. And vitamin D is something that most of us are deficient in. It's a very inexpensive nutrient, and you could add that, to, again, your either the Vitally multivitamin, but we would really recommend the Life Strip. So those are some of the products in there. Oh, and GLA. Oh my goodness, GLA is a wonderful product. It is wonderful for PMS. It helps with it supports well-being during your cycle. It helps with fibrocystic breast disease. It really just helps regulate your hormones, as does the Omega Guard, which is our fish oil. It's a omega-7. It has 7 omega-3 fatty acids. And again, it helps with clotting even with your periods, and it helps with the emotional distress from PMS and menopause. So that would be another thing that you might want to consider to add. It sounds like a lot of things. Again, whoever has invited you can kind of help talk with you, see what your symptoms are, and we have little checklists that you can fill out and determine what might be the best way for you to start. You can go to the next one. I think I covered them all.
You've got it. And actually, I'm going to head back up, I think. I'm going to try and go back to this picture, because June and Rusty Oast are Shaklee key coordinators that are very good friends of mine. And when Shaklee came out with this slide, they put their team to the task of figuring out how much it would cost to eat this food every day and how many calories it would be. And what they calculated was you would have to spend $270 a day on the food, and it would actually be 30,000 calories to consume all that food. So that little strip, which ends up just costing you a couple bucks a day and doesn't have any calories in it at all, would be a much, much better option. So thank you very much for that, Jody. And I'll tell you, I have customers who would not go through would not go through PMS. Try that again. They swear by the Osteomatrix to prevent them from having cramps, because some women get really, really severe cramps, and they just, that if there was nothing else that they took that Osteomatrix. So after PMS, usually the next step would be to have babies. Although PMS goes through baby making and everything else, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I thought this was kind of cute, because people think, oh, I'm pregnant, and oh, I've got a backache, constipation, heartburn, nausea, vomiting, acne, aching feet, incontinence, exhaustion, varicose veins, stretch marks, moodiness, and the nosy strangers. Well, we can't do anything about the nosy strangers, but Shaklee has something that can help everything else on that list. So if you're pregnant, we've got a tremendous webinar that you can watch called 1,000 Days. It talks about preconception through conception and pregnancy and the first couple months of the baby. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on that tonight, but no, we have products that are a huge help for that. So once those babies are all kind of starting to grow up or have grown up, hopefully, and are out of the house, then we get to deal with the 7 witches of menopause. And those would be itchy, bitchy, sweaty, sleepy, bloated, forgetful, and psycho. So I've asked Suzanne Belgio to take over at this point and talk to us about perimenopause, menopause, and tell her story, because it's pretty cool. So Suzanne, why don't you take over?
Okay. This is a time in our life. Well, perimenopause, there are so many different symptoms of perimenopause. Could be rosacea, could be, these are some of the things that I experienced, and that was early on, like in my early 40s. But perimenopause is the ovaries gradually produce less estrogen and progesterone. So when I realized I was in perimenopause, I did try other products from my local health food store, just progesterone cream, and it worked for a little bit, but not really. And I had rosacea, and I had it here. I was really kind of a mess until I was starting Shaklee, but and then you actually still get the sensation of menstruating. It's like you have all of the the bloating and the moodiness and their not hot flashes, but foggy thinking and sleeping disturbances. My biggest thing going through not so much perimenopause, but I didn't find Shaklee menopause balancing complex for a while, but I was taking the soy protein, and I love that. But going from perimenopause to menopause, what happened to me was, you hit that age, and I had to go through I went through a big bone loss. So that's one of the biggest risks. So can you go to the next slide, Ruth? Let's see what the next slide is. So, so when I was going through menopause, I was still drinking the soy protein, and Ruth had suggested to try the Cinch, which I had gone through many symptoms along the way, and a lot of it was, for me, I really felt like I was the one from outer space, and I really didn't. I felt like I didn't belong here at all. And like Jody was saying, you just have this out of body, like, who am I? Where do I fit in? But my story with osteopenia is that, well, I have a couple stories for menopause. First one was the gaining of the weight, and Ruth advised me to try at that time was called the Cinch, which was the Life Shake. The 180, and then now the Life Shake. And I tried that for a good couple months, and I never lost the weight. But what happened was my body mass index went down, so I lost a lot of inches. And that over a period of months made me feel that was one less thing that I had to be crabby about. So that was one of my my menopause stories. The other one was when I went for my bone mass index. They labeled me as going into osteopenia. And so what I did was I had to go through an endocrinologist. My vitamin D was low. We talked about the calcium. And of course, she gave me a list. I wish I could find it. There were 3 different calciums that were very, very important. Only 3 on the market that were supposed to be the best ones to get. Of course, the top one, was the best. Second was okay. Third one was okay. So I took that list and I went home and I looked at the Osteomatrix and I just went, oh my God, thank God. That was exactly the calcium that was in our Osteomatrix. So fast forward, I lost a lot of bone mass in my bone density test. I had to go back in 2 years. So I upped my calcium, my vitamin D. I made sure I was getting at least 4,000 units of vitamin D and my calcium with the smoothies and the Osteomatrix. I went back after 2 years and had a 13% increase in bone mass. And that's all I did because I worked out, never changed my workout. I was always doing a lot of strength training. So anyways, eat more plant estrogens. Okay. So that balances out all of the estrogens that we lose. So it helps. So the soy is really, really important. I have a member that's all she drinks is the soy protein, and she doesn't even take the menopause balancing, and her symptoms of menopause are very, very tolerable. Adequate calcium and vitamin D intake, I talked about that. So what else can you do? Well, you can add the omega-3s for mild depression and for mood swings, but St. John's wort is really another, that's in our,
Mood lift.
Mood lift. And that one, that also works if you have some sort of depression during winter time as well, because we don't see the sun very often. So that really helps really just have a very pleasant outlook on life. Promote restful sleep. Okay, we're moving forward.
We got to move. We got 4 minutes left.
Okay, perimenopause. Oh, Vitalia soy protein. We talked about the phytoestrogens in that. Menopause balancing complex. It's a blended of all the important things that you would find at the health food store, one solution at a time, but our menopause balancing is all of those put together. Mood lift, B-complex, Osteomatrix, which is the right calcium to have, vitamin D, and Omega Guard.
Thank you. And it's kind of interesting. They say it's a time for living well. By 2030, 1 in every 5 American adults will be over the age of 65. And poor health is not an inevitable consequence of aging, people. If you take care of yourselves, I was out to lunch today with Mom, who's 80, and 2 other people that were 80, and they look like they were 95, and Mom looks like she's about 65. And it's because she's been taking Shaklee for 40 or more years. And she's chosen not to smoke and not to indulge in stuff. And Suzanne mentioned osteoporosis, and we've got some tremendous solutions for that as well, that increased calcium and vitamin D. And so we've got some tremendous products here at Shaklee. And the majority of people that get involved at Shaklee only want to use the products. And that's terrific, because we've got the best products on the market, and I believe we're the world's best kept secret. But some of those people say, hey, I want to share those products with my friends and my family. And when they do that, they can actually earn some money back to pay for their products. And then still others say, hey, I think that I might be interested in earning $1,500 a month or more for life. And if that happens to be you or someone you know, we'd like to offer you to take a look at what the Shaklee Business Opportunity offers. We are a network marketing company, and very proud to say that we are. And we offer you incomes anywhere from $4,000 a month up to close to $1 million. A year. $4,000 a year to $1 million a year, and even more than that. But the point is, if you're looking for a side hustle or a side gig or whatever you want to call it, Shaklee could really possibly be a fit for you. And our founder, Dr. Forrest C. Shaklee, who started researching vitamins in 1915 and actually started this company in 1956, 63 years ago, always said, your future will be exactly what you decide to make it. And I'm just excited that because of the products that Dr. Shaklee has given us and the science and everything that has followed it and preceded it to what we have now, you have choices. And you can choose to stop doing some of the bad habits and start supplementing well and make a difference in your life. So thank you to everybody for being here and to our guest speakers. And I'm going to stop the recording now, maybe if I can find it.